TikToker next door. What would you do?
Oh my lord. There's nothing I hate more than parents who do nothing but stare at their phone and think that they're going to be famous. Like, just shut up. Just shut up. Go and parent your kid, you B-word. Oh my lord. Like, seriously, what the hell? What is with people? There's another reason why you don't want kids, because you just get people like that.
Hello and welcome to r/Neighbours from Hell. We are Audio Games. I am Alex.
And I am Chelsea.
And let's get straight into it.
Okay, so starting it off with, how do I handle a male neighbour who won't leave me alone? I, 40 female. I've lived in a certain apartment for almost 4 years now, and I've had the same neighbour the whole time. He's an older man, and I haven't had any issues with him, except for one point when he's allowing random men to come to his apartment at night time, and they always look sketchy. But that only lasted maybe a few weeks and then it stopped. Recently, probably about a month or so ago, another man moved in with him and he's about in his early 50s. At first I got really bad vibes from him, I wouldn't really say anything to him, but eventually I'd say hi and stuff like that and make small talk. However, this man has now started coming to my door and knocking multiple times. I answered one time and he was talking about how someone did something to his car. After that, he's come to my door at least 4 other times in the last 2 weeks, nothing to which I did not answer. He's also recently got a camera that points to the parking lot, but I think that he can see me when I pull up or leave, because sometimes I'll leave my apartment and he'll suddenly be outside saying something to me, and then at other times I'll pull into my apartment complex and as I'm getting out of my car or walking towards the stairs, suddenly he's right there trying to talk to me. What the hell? I'm not really sure what to do at this point because I don't know him or how he'll react. I want to ask my landlord to ask him to stop coming to my door, or to ask the original neighbour who he lives with to let him know to stop. I also considered leaving a note. I had a friend say that the next time he knocks to answer and ask him to stop, but I don't even want to open the door. This guy makes me very uncomfortable. I really don't know what to do. I don't have an issue just seeing him and saying hi and bye, but he tries to make long conversations, and the fact that he's just suddenly always right there whenever I go outside, it's just weird. What would be the best option? Leaving a note, telling the landlord, asking him to stop. So the update, I ended up literally just emailing the landlord to inquire about whether or not they do background checks on everyone, and I told him my concerns. Turns out she didn't even know that guy was living next door. God damn.
So this sounds like an illegal subletting, possibly by the original neighbour. But like the first issue she has obviously is that she doesn't want to tell this person to stop, doesn't she? And obviously we live in the UK and we know kind of along those lines, it can't be considered harassment if you haven't told the person you don't want contact with them, and you're saying, oh, can I use a medium, basically like the landlord or the original neighbour. That's not going to work. You've got to tell a person directly. I get that he makes you feel uncomfortable, but they could be socially awkward. They could be on the spectrum and not understand it. They could have social anxiety, and a lot of people think social anxiety is just I can't talk to people. Sometimes social anxiety doesn't allow you to shut up.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Yeah, so this guy could just think it's completely normal. Maybe he just likes you.
Yeah.
Maybe he's eccentric, but unless you tell him you're uncomfortable with him, or unless you want him to dial it down and tell him directly, you're not getting your point across, and getting someone else to do it, he might be perceived as rude, and maybe he might explode like that instead of you just talking to him directly.
I mean, I get all that, but people show signs that they're uncomfortable. And I understand, like, oh yeah, it could be on the spectrum, could be this, could be that. But if you're showing actual signs that you're uncomfortable with this man doing this, you should get the picture. Seriously, like, get the picture, get the point, move on, go away.
Yeah, I understand that as well, but people can't read those signs. Not everyone can read those signs because of some sort of social difficulty.
Yeah, but if she's not reciprocating the conversation,
he might think that she's the other end of socially awkward.
Maybe.
The point is, if you don't tell someone you're uncomfortable with them, how are they ever going to know?
Either way, I think the only way you're going to get out of this is either do what you said, or if that doesn't work, just shout at him. Anything happens, call police. Say, listen mate, get away, leave me alone. And if that doesn't work, call police.
On to the next one.
Am I the a-hole because I don't want a shared fence? For a little context, I bought my home about 6 years ago. We've done so much around the yard to have a beautiful lawn, put up a pool, planted lots of flowers and fruit trees. We all around made it a happy place for our 2 sons, 1 and 7.
I hope they're not the names.
I was just about to say that.
7, dinner time.
Our neighbours were amazing when we first moved in, always wanting to help us. We also returned many favours. Definitely the can we borrow some sugar neighbours, which was amazing. Well, in the last 1 to 2 years, we noticed a distance from them. The only time they talk is when her old man is being creepy, asking my son how many girls he's kissed at school. Ew. I told him many times it makes him uncomfortable. He still does so, my son don't even say hi anymore, it's awkward. However, the last few months they've been talking about my back fence line. It's an old metal fence with a few stumps that are there from past trees being removed. We have many flowers and plants up and down it. Here's where the kicker comes in. They want to remove my fence, dig into my yard 4 to 5 feet. I don't want to. And honestly, I don't want a shared fence, too many disputes. I feel if he wants a nice new fence, he needs to put it on his property. His excuse is, I don't want to lose 4 inches of my property. That's not my fault. I don't want my yard destroyed. I don't want to have to deal with a makeshift fence to block my dogs. This project will take months since he wants to DIY and dig my stumps out. I do not want to have that happen. Oh, and he wants to do all of this without a survey. I said no. My husband also just texted him and told him I said no. So am I the a-hole for not wanting the shared fence? No, not at all. It's your property, your fence. You do what the hell you want.
I mean, straight away, you've already said you don't want the fence because you don't want disputes. This is literally starting on a dispute. How can you be the butthole when you're talking about this is the kind of thing you don't want and the fence isn't even in and you're already having a dispute about it? And they can't force you to make a shared fence. If you didn't buy the property when you had a shared fence or like any kind of shared boundary line that was a clear physical marker, they can't then force you to do it because it's your property. If it's freehold, they can't make you do anything with it. If it's leasehold, they might be able to.
No, only the landlord.
Yeah, I know, but they could. That's what I'm saying. They could go through the landlord, unless it's a weird situation where they own the property. Yeah, this is just passive aggressive, horrible behaviour, and also to go back further in it, and it says the old man being creepy, asking my son how many girls he kissed at school. That's just strange, that. And then. Oh, it told him it makes him uncomfortable. He still does so. My son doesn't even say hi anymore. It's awkward. You know, you're an older man talking to a younger boy. That's the part of time when you need to start taking the hint. And it's literally been explained to you. Yep. Stop crossing that line. Stop crossing that boundary line. This isn't the shared fence.
Top commenter even says, like, quoting the guy,
oh yeah,
I don't want to lose 4 inches of my property, so I'll take 4 to 5 feet of yours and cut down your trees. Exactly. Why the hell does he get a chance of, oh, well, I want to make a shared fence, but I need to go into your property, dig up your plants, dig up your stumps, and rip down your fence that will now turn into a makeshift fence where my dogs can jump over? No.
Also, not to mention the fact is, again, I don't want to lose 4 inches of my property. All jokes aside, 4 inches is nothing. You lose 4 inches of your property, you're not going to notice. The only time people notice that they've lost 4 inches of the property is if someone puts in a fence and they go, well, they've actually taken some of my property when it wasn't even talked about, and they've done it. Because I've read stories like that before where they've just put in a fence and they've encroached on the person's property. Then that's a big deal. But if you're just like, I want to build a fence, or the party doesn't want to build the fence, I want it there for privacy or whatever reason, and they don't want to also foot the bill or have their ground disturbed, you're the only person with the problem with the fence. Eat the loss of those inches of the property because you're the one who wants the fence.
Deal with it.
4 inches of grass is nothing.
I think we talked enough about the fence. This one just says, harassed mum, and this is also Neighbours from Hell, of course. My neighbour tried to steal a portion of my mother's property on the other side of his house. He built a fence on it. What is with the fences?
It's offensive.
Wow. He built a fence on it while they were away because they only lived there during the summer. So years of civil court later, and he lost. During this process, he tried to file for a restraining order against me and called in a false report to CPS, Child Protective Services. Nothing this guy throws at me sticks because he's an butt. I have not done anything wrong. We know he called in the report because he bragged to a neighbour about it. He just hates me and my family. So this week I see a lost 3-year-old boy in the road and I run out to rescue him. I called 911, got the kid back to his mum, talked to the sheriff when they showed up and all is fine. The whole time this toddler was in the street and I was helping him, this guy filmed us. I asked if he knew this kid, if he knew where he came from or anything. He said, I thought it was yours, then walked away. Next day I'm getting a call from CPS because I was reported for letting my child run in the street. No good deed, right? Is there anything I can do to protect myself or my family?
Move.
Yeah.
Move. Simple as. Neighbours, and some neighbours like this. When you're buying a property, you just get stuck with whoever's next to you in most cases. Unless they're doing something that's going to get them in prison or get them to not be around any longer or force them to move, you're stuck with your neighbours, so there's not much more you can do. Have you filed a harassment report against them? Did they say that?
No.
So my first piece of advice would be file a harassment report against them. Go to the police because this is harassment. And also, most people don't know this, but a form of harassment is they called CPS on me. They're making false reports. That's a form of harassment. A lot of people don't know that. If you're getting the police to go and do welfare checks when there's no need for it, that is also a form of harassment by proxy. You're getting the police.
Party?
Yeah, third party harassment. You're getting the police to harass someone for you. Obviously, the police aren't doing it intentionally because they think it's a genuine report until they get there and realise it's bogus and it's a form of harassment. And they sometimes will make the report on your behalf without telling you because they can understand that it's harassment, especially if there's a habit there, an established routine.
You said everything I was going to say.
Moving on.
A controlling neighbour invaded my property. I'll be as brief as possible because my mental health is not good because of my neighbour. I live in a kind of deserted place. It's in the countryside. Many farms and ranches around here. I never liked living in the countryside, but it was the best option because I was experiencing a lot of stress in the city. Noise, cars, motorcycles, everything was driving me crazy. So my house is not fully built because of the builders and because I didn't speed up the payment, because I didn't have any money. And it has one part, the front, open. Rich and poor people live here, all together in the same place. There are some rich farmers and other normal people who live around here. But I'm going to warn you that I'm not against poor people. I just wanted to give you an inside look at things so you can understand better. So getting back to the case, there is a super strange, that is capitalised, woman who keeps invading my house and making repetitive noises brutally on my wall. She seems to be controlling. I know this because every time I turn on my radio to listen to a song that I like, she starts banging aggressively on my wall and saying things that I can't understand. It's super scary. Another thing is that since I'm a calm person and I'm mostly at home, I don't like to face people to solve problems. I don't like fighting, so what do? Have you ever experienced a similar problem? Have you ever had controlling neighbours who invaded your property? Anyway, that's all for today.
All I'm saying is I'm going to start this off with, if you live in America and you live in a stand your ground state, you know what this means? People can't just walk onto your property. After the first warning, I'm pretty sure that's all you need. And if someone's coming over onto your property, possibly damaging your walls, but at the very least, once again, harassing you for doing what you're allowed to do in your own property. You're not breaking any laws, you're just listening to music, you're going about your daily life. If someone came onto my property, first thing I'd do is warn them to get off my property. If they ignored that, it'd be the police. And the police couldn't get there in time. I'm defending myself and my property. And I think it's just that simple. I get that you're a non-confrontational person, but if you do you say you live by yourself? Yeah, if you live by yourself as well, even more so, you need to reinforce your own sanctuary, effectively. It's your place of security and home.
Yeah, there's not much I can say about that really. Just get the police involved. Get rid of that person because nah.
And also, you talk about rich and poor people living together. That didn't really seem to have any bearing on what this woman is doing or like her background or anything like that. Kind of sounds like she might be on something. Maybe she might have mental health problems. Either way, she could be a danger to you or others. And if she's coming onto your property to harass you in this, and presumably you've never confronted her yourself, what happens the one time she catches you outside? On to the next one.
Apartment complex. Kids think that they are entitled to my dog. I've been living in my current apartment for over a year and a half. I have a German Shepherd dog who I train and do a lot of non-interactive socialisation outside, meaning we are just observing everything around us without contact from people or dogs, etc. At the beginning, there were times where random kids would run up screaming, "Doggy, doggy, can we pet?" And I would point to his vest patch and say, "Do not pet," and inform them politely that he's in training so they cannot. I thought that was the end of it as they stopped doing it with a rare few slip-ups in between, but I was wrong. A couple of months ago, I went outside around 7 PM and was swarmed by multiple kids running and even some on bikes. I got extremely nervous and tried to navigate through as quickly as possible. Mind you, their parents were present and didn't intervene. Surprise, bros. Until I was having to physically block my dog from them. I take him to potty and one of the parents walk up and ask about him, then brings up sarcastically about me telling their kids not to pet them. I tell her again that he's in training so I don't let anyone interact with him while he's wearing his vest. She mentions that she figured that was why, but wanted to ask and gave a half-ass apology. After that interaction, things mellowed out as most of the kids were back in school or moved out, and I figured the parents finally talked to them as from then on they would ask if they could from a distance, which I did let them pet him from time to time. Well, yes, they proved me wrong. There's one kid in particular that instigated most of the interactions, but as usual, I'm walking outside to let my dog go to the bathroom, and like clockwork, she comes running asking to pet him. I say yes, but only when he's done going to the bathroom, so give us time. She walks maybe a foot away and just watches. He hasn't even pooped yet, and she's calling out for him, waving a hand out and tells me he wants to pet him. I know I could have handled this better, but I just lost it. I yelled back basically saying no he doesn't, you're pestering us and not letting him focus on going to the bathroom, so leave us alone. I ended up walking away right after then going back inside. I didn't know these kids' parents and our complex just got bought out again, but my experience with the previous owners regarding the situation has me feeling like there's nothing I can do other than just continuing holding my ground and avoiding times they're outside. Has anyone else dealt with this before? How would you handle these situations?
Nothing does my head in more, because we have a dog, nothing does my head in more than someone thinking they're entitled to pet your dog. No one's entitled to pet my dog except for me and Chelsea. No one. Not my parents. Not any siblings I may or may not have. Not any siblings you may or may not have. No one is entitled to pet our dog except for us because it's our dog. If we don't like the look of someone, we don't want them to touch our dog. We're doing it because we're on guard. What if, right, you don't want someone to pet your dog because your dog doesn't like people, whether they get aggressive or whether they're scared. I get that these are kids, but their parents are trash. They should really educate their kids. And not to mention the fact that right now in the UK, obviously, loads of people are going insane about how dangerous dogs can be. And it's not about how dangerous dogs can be. It's about how dangerous owners can be with not educating the dogs.
Preach.
And instead of getting entitled for your kid to pet someone else's dog, you should educate them that if you want to go and pet the dog, go over and ask. Yeah? And maybe they're not letting them pet the dog because the dog might be dangerous. Why don't you teach them, instead of stranger danger, dog could be dangerous? And that's not to fear dogs, that's to be cautious around dogs, because dogs don't necessarily like people just because they're man's best friend. Mic drop.
Yeah, and going back to that as well, we know our dog. We know what he likes, we know what he dislikes. He's a rescue dog. This German Shepherd could be a rescue dog, we don't know. You know what I mean? Like, they know what they like and don't like. The kids coming up to them don't know what they like or don't like. They could quickly put the hand out and that dog could be scared and bite it. And then all of a sudden that dog gets PTS. All because this little entitled troglodyte come up and started trying to pet the dog. And their entitled parents will be like, oh, dog's dangerous, oh, you need the PTS, you need to put him to sleep now. And they're like, no.
Another thing is that if it was up to me, I would just avoid people altogether and just ignore them and pretend like they don't exist for our dog, because people just walk up and they can see that we're trying to train him. And you said that you were trying to train your dog in this one. Doesn't matter if you're wearing a vest, as far as I'm concerned. Don't just go up and pet someone's dog. That goes for adults too, because obviously kids do it, but they're interested, they're curious, they see a dog, they want to pet the dog. Obviously there's nothing wrong with that, as long as they're then respectful when they get told no. But adults should definitely know better. You can see I'm avoiding you, you can see I'm crossing the road, or you can see I'm slowing down or steering my dog away from you, and then you sit there and you go, here you go, come here doggy. I don't want doggy to come here because I'm trying to train doggy. I'm trying to get doggy to stop pulling. I'm trying to get doggy to listen. Stop distracting my dog.
Yep.
TikToker next door. What would you do? I was on my front steps with my kids, girl 1 year old, boy 3 years old. During the summer, the neighbours' kids always came out at the same time, which was okay at first, but then I noticed the mum never came outside. I always had extra snacks or fruit to share with the neighbour kids, which they would devour instantly. The neighbours would assume that the 9 and 12-year-old would be able to watch their little brother, who was 2 years old, and because I was outside, no one else had to be. Not the dad, not the mum, ever. All the neighbours on our street know about this kid running into traffic, and mum is nowhere to be found. It's either the 9-year-old or the 12-year-old chasing the boy into traffic. I spent the entire summer taking care of these kids. No one gave an F if this little boy was hit by an effing car. We were already running late to a doctor's appointment, and here comes the little boy. My husband took him into his home and closed the door. We're pulling out when we see this little boy sprinting out of his house almost to the main road, which we were already on. I called 911. You would think the lady would change, but a few weeks later my husband has to help this woman break into her own house because she had locked herself out. She sounds like a real responsible person. With the little boy locked inside, oh Jesus, I wish I'd have finished that sentence now. That's even worse. Summer had ended and I never saw the little boy outside or even awake until his sisters got off the bus, which he would be covered in Cheeto dust and iPhone in hand, of course. Kids these days just gotta have an iPhone in their hand, otherwise. The mum didn't work. I thought the mum was a call girl for a while. I had become too emotionally involved and it was clear that the mother had no intention on changing, so I stopped going outside. Every time I saw they were outside, I would close the door. Months passed by like this. The father of the little boy asked my husband if we have a security number because they need Wi-Fi and you can only get Wi-Fi with a social. What? My husband says no. Mind you, these people haven't said all but 2 words to us. I found it on Facebook. She is an effing TikToker. All of her videos are her lip-syncing Christian music while she shows her assets. She is literally standing sideways in every video, touching her hips and her bust. I'm talking about this B-word is wearing heels in the snow. Then I see this B-word is like posing with our cars. My car and everyone's license plate on the street were in her TikToks. She has 30k followers on TikTok and her most viewed video, 300k views. It's her saying to the camera who wants to marry her and get married in a Christian church. I'm literally screaming because I'm over here imagining her son getting ran over every day and this B-word is in her bag all last summer. What? Is that a song reference that I'm looking at?
No idea.
Glad I can effing help a B-word.
Wow. Just wow. Like, oh my lord. There's nothing I hate more than parents who do nothing but stare at their phone and think that they're gonna be famous. Like, just shut up. Just shut up. Go and parent your kid, you B-word. Oh my lord. Like, seriously, what the hell? What is with people? Another reason why you don't want kids, because you just get people like that. Like, oh, I've got to look after your kid even though I haven't got kids myself.
I think it's insulting to call her a parent, because she's not. What does she do? She literally has the other 2 children looking after that child most of the time anyway. Can you imagine what goes on behind closed doors?
She's a tummy mummy, not a more.
And it's insulting that she's doing all of that and then, pretending to be Christian. I mean, I'm not religious, but why go out of your way to insult a religion by acting the way that you act? And then pretending like you're some sort of... I mean, she might not pretend like she's devout Christian or anything like that, but it's insulting to then saying to the camera who wants to marry her and get married in a Christian church and then acting the way that she's acting just to get views. It's clickbait.
Doesn't she have a husband?
Yeah. Well,
he's the partner.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the dad just lives there for childcare, and I say that very loosely because even he's not doing childcare. It's clear that the parents of these 3 kids, and particularly the youngest kid, want free babysitting from someone they clearly don't even know. And not to mention the part about the social security number. Obviously, we don't really know how important... I mean, we know how important the social security number is, but by proxy, because we compare it to our national insurance numbers over here in the UK, and you just don't give that information out. So the fact is, they just want your social security number for a Wi-Fi company, but then they would have your social security number. Obviously, I don't need to tell you this, but don't give that out. That is personal information, and someone can then use that for identity theft. So
I'm just trying to figure out how this B-word gets the audacity to actually have heels in the snow and pose next to their cars.
I forgot all.
Like, excuse you, get away, you little freak. Just get the hose on it, especially in the snow.
I mean, it doesn't say anything about your personal... You don't say anything about your personal wealth, and you don't say anything about the area's wealth or anything like that. But the fact is, they were posing in front of your cars. I'm going to guess that you have nice cars, and it's clearly like a status brag. I hate when people do this. They do like a proper status brag about something that is not theirs. Like, you've seen it loads of times where it'll be like influencers posing in front of BMWs that they see on the street and pretending like they're theirs, like their newest BMW. It's sad. It's really sad.
Tell her to stop posing in front of cars, stop being an influencer, or do it in your own home, but also look after your damn kids. Like, that's it. Like, stop being a little Fruit Loop and go look after your bloody kids. I've just nearly said something else. People wonder why I hate people. This is one of the reasons, the many, many, many reasons why I hate people. Rant over.
Just wanted to quickly touch on the fact that there's a 12-year-old, a 9-year-old. What's the youngest kid? Is that 2 years old?
Yeah, watch their little brother, 2 years old.
Yeah. So, do you think it's possible this could be a case of postpartum depression? Can it still be around 2 years later?
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
But I just think she's a colossal B-word instead.
She might be, but like another possible explanation, and not to defend anyone at all, another possible explanation, they know next to nothing about the lady herself other than the fact that she's on TikTok, as this could be some sort of postpartum thing, because presumably she didn't do this with the 9-year-old and the 12-year-old. Otherwise, if they were playing in traffic, they probably wouldn't be here because no one was there to look after them. Their siblings weren't there to look after them unless they got lucky. But this might be a case of postpartum, and that could be why this woman's acting out, but it explains nothing about the father, because considering they know next to nothing about him, strange behaviour. Anyway, I'm glad we don't live next door to any influencers, TikTokers, anything like that. Anyway, thanks for watching. This has been r/Neighbours from Hell. We've been Audio Games. I've been Alex.
And I've been Chelsea.
Thanks for watching. Join us next time for another r/Neighbours from Hell. Bye!
Bye! If you enjoyed this video, then consider liking and subscribing, and we will see you on the next one. Bye for now, guys.